Hey kids, it's Pastor Austin
and Mr. Brandon
here with this week's Big Truth. So we made it. We are at guide 9 of our new creation series, which means this is the very last guide of our entire whole series of creation, fall, redemption, and new creation. We are so excited to be able to be on this journey with you guys and share this last big truth that's in our series. So are you ready? Our big truth this week is the story is about God making us His. The story, the redemptive story, is about God making us His. So let's take a look at where that comes from. So Psalm 103, Psalm 100 verse 3 is our Bible verse for this week. And here's what it says. Know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who made us, and we are His. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. What good news that is for us, and how that gives us hope that we weren't just created by accident, that God created us with us in mind, and really for us to be His, that we are His creation. So Psalm 103 says this, know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who made us, and we are His. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. Boys and girls, we want you to know that loud and clear, that you were created to know God. You were created in His image to know Him. And the way that we know God is through Jesus Christ. And that gives us hope that the story is about God making us His. And He does that through Jesus Christ, that He brings us back into a right relationship with God the Father. So Mr. Brandon has a hook for us this week that's going to talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, so this week we're just gonna continue on that conversation about the story. But what we need for you guys to get some strips of paper out and some pencils, markers, however you guys want to do it. And as you go through the guide this week, I want you to talk about the story. You know, we've been through, this is the last part of the story that we've been through new creation, but we've been through creation, fall, redemption, new creation. Go back and review those things and just talk about different parts of God's story of redemption. Begin with how God created everything, and He created everything perfect. And just continue on to how Adam and Eve sinned and the fall of mankind. And draw or write each one of those things on a strip of paper. And once you're done, I want you to staple them or tape them all together so it's just a paper chain, a story chain of God's redemptive story. And see and talk about how the story of the world is God's story, and He created us to be His and to give Him and all things for His glory.
That's awesome. So you guys do that activity together this week to unpack that big truth a little bit more, that the story is about God making us His. And so we also have a Bible story that really you take one man and you can see this big truth displayed in this one man. His name is Abraham. So our Bible story this week is in Genesis, a couple different passages. Genesis chapter 12, verse 14, then Genesis chapter 15, verses 1 through 6, and then Romans chapter 4, verses 13 through 25. So if you can't remember all that, it's fine. It's in the guide online. You can go there. But basically, those few verses that are there in different chapters are talking about Abraham. And that God took Abraham. Abraham was an idol worshiper, right? He didn't know God. He was created by God, but he didn't know God. God took Abraham and made him His. And Abraham wasn't perfect, but he was certainly a man that we can see in the Bible about how God changed his life and He changed his heart, right? So take a look at those passages that are there for our Bible story this week and let it be an illustration that the story, the redemptive story, is about God making us His. Hey, we hope you guys have had a great journey with us talking about new creation, and hopefully you've learned some things. And so what we encourage you to do is take some of those things that you've learned, maybe even go back through all the other guides 1 through 8, and talk about those things as a family this week. So hey, we will see you next time, and we hope that you have a great week this week.
See you guys.